They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
We have such sights to show you.
Who's laughing now?
I'll drive you crazy. I'll kill you all. I'm the worst nightmare you've ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
They're here.
Yes,
here indeed. Hey everybody! Hey, look at Greg joining us already. Good to see you, brother. All right, good to see you too. I like the headgear now. That's pretty cool.
Do what now? Are you talking to me or Miguel? Oh, I always have this. Just my other half just kind of blended in. I just kind of tuck my hair over it. So, yeah, this is actually a PlayStation little deal.
Nice, very nice.
Hey, Timothy.
And looks like we got Timothy in here. Lauren, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It's hot as fuck.
It is. It is. I'm not enjoying that.
No.
Not liking it. Call it. But that doesn't matter because today we're going to cool you guys off with tales from the Great White North. They're not exactly cool stories. They're in fact bone chilling, if you will, because actual bones get mutilated throughout this. It's real bad. It gets real bad real fast coming up, guys. So we're going to go into the lighter stuff that we usually do. But today's episode is the Anthill Kids Part 2. And I'm going to lower my... There we go. That's better. So Rock Terrio. Terrio is the most normal way to pronounce that, by the way. His last name is... Well, his entire name is French-Canadian, if you will. But Rock Terrio is the America way to do it. So I'm going to stick with that for now. Lacey, how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm gonna stick with Ferrero Rocher. I thought that sounded about right last week. So
well, I'm gonna stick with Baguette Molson's. That's I think his name. It's a bread and type of beer. That's his name. That's his proper name.
Okay.
All right. So before we get started on the very deep level of mayhem for today, I think we need something a little lighter to kick this off. So let's start with a would you rather.
Would you rather wake up on the wrong side of the bed or get the short end of the stick? So you're either always grouchy or you're always getting fucked over.
That's my fucking life every day. I get to choose just one now?
Yeah, I finally get to pick. I like it. I want to wake up on the wrong side of the stick, or I choose the short end of the bed. Boom.
There you go. I like that.
I guess I'm going to go with sleep at the foot of the bed, or how does that work?
It's an air mattress. That's all I can think of. Air mattress.
An air mattress with a fucking patch on it.
Yeah. Lacey says that she's always grouchy. That's her reality anyway. So boom. End of discussion. I like it.
Whoa. Sorry.
Light this. You'll
Yeah,
see what I'm doing.
this.
I'm not starting fires, I swear.
That is extra long.
Oh, yes. This is not the short end of the stick today.
Oh, shit. What is that?
This is the last rites from Black Label Trading Company. Come on, camera. Come on, focus, camera.
Did you post that one earlier today? You didn't post that today?
This special. No, this is my first one I've had of this, like, ever. Yeah. Goody, how you doing, brother? There's Goody and Dan joining us. How's it going, guys? Don't forget the Would You Rather is right there at the bottom. If you want to join in with that before we get into the serious topics, but luckily we have some other stuff to talk about before that too. I believe we've got time for some strange news.
Shit, you want to hear a side strange news? Chipotle always gives you fucking cold-ass food. Boom.
Every time I've ever gotten it delivered, it's always been cold.
Dude, it pisses me off. Seriously, like, I was trying to nom on some fucking taco before I got here because it just got to the house.
My lettuce is mushy.
I don't get lettuce on the orders no more. I'm just like, fuck it. I don't want those. Because I get the crunchy tacos. I always get the crunchy barbacoa tacos. And it said it was going to be here at 6:35. I was like, sweet, I got time to eat one taco. It gets here at like 6:46, and I'm like, fuck, I ain't got no time to eat no tacos. And then boyfriend took a fucking bite, and he's like, hey, come take a bite of this. Ate it fucking ice cold. I was like, are you shitting me? I paid $40 for 3 tacos and a burrito to be served 10 minutes late and about 3 days cold. But I digress. Strange news. Other things that are more interesting than fucking cold tacos on Union Avenue. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there's a lot worse tacos on that street. Yeah.
Right? There's a lot worse street tacos out there. Ew. Oh my god, that's like a 90s punk, like rancid punk band would be like Cold Union Tacos or something.
Union Tacos, and only people from Bakersfield understand that reference. But
right?
If you guys can picture your own town and think about the place where ladies of the night,
lot lizards,
lot lizards,
drug
any
dealers?
of those. Yeah, there's drug dealers over there too. But I'm specifically talking the friendly women for money category right now. I'm talking well, they're not friendly actually. They're very grouchy for money. I think they always wake up on the wrong side of the bed if we're talking about anybody. But our Union is covered in that. Union Avenue from top to bottom. You can play a game and say, hey, look at that over there. There's another one. No, it's another one. And you get a high score every time.
And they dress all sorts of ways, my lord. At all times of days.
Sometimes the clothes fit, sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they're wearing clothes, sometimes they're not. Literally.
Sometimes, they have an open wound on their arm, or sometimes, they want to give you an open wound. Either way.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. That's probably another old commercial reference that people won't get.
Such a nerd.
No, whatever. Anyways, any hoosers. So about this time last year, the Pentagon said they were going to release those fucking papers about UFOs, now known as UAPs. It was supposed to be out like 2 days ago, I think. Nothing. Now they're pushing it off to the end of the month.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was today.
It was supposed to be yesterday or today, but they're fucking late, regardless. But I did notice that some of the stuff that they have released, some of like the basic info or whatever, if you will, that's been released, is what I was talking about when I brought up the fucking Skinwalker Ranch like a month or so ago. And then I talked about that guy Bigelow who owned the hotels and shit. I don't know if I ever said this recently, but they've never said his name. They don't say where the location is exactly. They just say that it's in, what is it? Is it Colorado or Utah or wherever the fuck it's at? They said that, there is a location in this state that got a $22 million budget to do independent research. They have been collecting, and I was like, I fucking knew it. So that's where I bet you a lot of the information we get is going to be in these documents. So I'm wondering if they might pull a bait and switch on us. Like, oh yeah, here's our findings, but really they're keeping the shit that they've been documenting themselves and not these independent documenting people, whatever. Yeah. But I did, in my extended UFO binge today, there is actually record of UFOs all the way back to 1803 in Japan.
Yes, I heard about this one.
Did you? Okay. There are, I guess there's 3 books that have mentioned this same event, all written by different people. I'm probably going to fucking butcher this, but basically the story as a whole is known as the Utsuro Bene incident, Japan 1803. So what had happened was in February of 1803, apparently, why is my screen getting dark? Damn it, auto fucking light, sorry. It's gonna bug me if I can't see anybody. I don't know who I'm talking to. Okay. In 1803, this boat, or what they call a hollow ship, washed up to shore, and a fisherman discovered it. He described it in this one book. What was the name of it? Anyway, it translates to English as "foreign woman in the hollow boat." They described it as having a window on top, and it had bars around the bottom. When the fisherman opened the inside, there was weird writing all over the walls. There was like fancy fabric that they'd never seen before. And that there was a female passenger in it. And she was a beautiful 18 to 20-year-old girl with what they said was pink skin and red hair. And she had a box. And she would not show anybody the box. She wouldn't open the box or do anything with the box. But she spoke a language that they didn't know, and that she wore clothing that, what was it? What did they say? She wore fine clothing that was made of a foreign fabric.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that really could have been anything, but but it's kind of
the original
weird.
Spanx.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could have really been anything. Like, it could have just been Coinky-Dinkle. You know, maybe she had a weird fucking carpenter dad that built her a weird fucking boat, and she wore, you know, she's from another country, so obviously that's why they can't understand her language. And maybe that's why she had different fabric material. This is what I'm saying. Because I'm just...
Maybe her skin was red from being sunburnt or something.
Yeah, well, red hair and pink skin. So I'm thinking she's just a white girl.
That's right.
Maybe she was from Ireland.
Sunburnt.
And she, yeah, exactly. Maybe she was from America,
Lauren,
or maybe she was from Ireland or wherever. And
Lauren, where were you in 18 whatever? Huh? Were you causing problems?
She's like holding the box. She's like, no, nothing.
Like, no, don't worry about it. From what I remember though, from that story though, they just kind of speculated that there was a head in the box, didn't they?
You know what? I don't remember reading that, but
there was because they said it happened twice. That another woman washed up to shore from a royal family, but she dishonored them by taking a lover or having an affair or something. So they banished her off onto the ship, cut off her lover's head, and put it in a box for her. She had to carry it around. And they thought that happened to this woman as well, because the fine clothing, the very well built boat that they'd never seen before. They assumed she was royalty, and they're like, well, she probably got a lover's head in there. I mean, it happens, we've all been there, which makes no sense. But it's crazy to think that around this same time, or a little bit after this too, because in Russia they were having sightings as well, but they were more around big lakes. Lakes were happening.
Okay.
Spooky.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We're the end of the month now. It's not yesterday or today or whenever. It's it's later now. We'll see.
They better. Like, we don't need more stimulus. We need more news about aliens. All right.
We don't need more stimulus. We need more stimulation.
There you go.
Giggity.
I like it. I like it very much. And then Charles says, hey, speaking of serious stuff, a friend of mine was asking about Randonautica. Y'all heard of that? Apparently it's an app that direct random locations. I have not heard of that. I have seen random app locators, but they're never weird stuff. It's just like, here's an open road in Uganda, or here's an old lady on a stoop in Yugoslavia, or here's yourself, when you were in that place at one time. It's very boring, but I've never heard of one that's like creepy sounding. So So maybe I'll look that up. I'm gonna look that up on another tab real quick, just to see if I can get it.
Isn't that the one where, like, if you find it, isn't that the one where, like, they found, like, dead body, or, like, these kids found, like, a dead body or some shit like that?
I don't know. I never heard of that.
I don't know. I remember, like, some kids using some app to, like, go to random places, and they found, like, it was, like, a suitcase or something like that, and they opened it, and there was actually a body in it or some shit.
Oh, shit.
Maybe I'm mixing stories. Maybe I'm a little too stoned right now and taco hungry. Taco angry. I'm hangry.
It looks like it's just a video game. I don't know if there's anything real to it, and I don't know how serious I can take it because I think I see one of my favorite streamers here doing it. So
Maybe that
I don't know.
scary face that jumps up at you randomly, like the old YouTube videos.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I'll dive into this more when I can download it. I don't want to mess up the show, so I'm not going to download anything right this second. But you know, it seems like it gave a couple people the heebie-jeebies or the chilly willies. I don't know yet. So I will, in fact, look that up and see which is which, and we'll see what goes on. Oh, Frankie comments. I think the story of the lover's head in the box is a Lonely Island. How Lonely Island got their inspiration. That's a different item in that box.
I got my head in a box.
We're in feudal Japan, baby. Ooh.
You put your head in a box.
You cut a hole in that box. Never, I don't want to remember. Okay, so Charles says he found. Okay, so he says that a friend of his found 2 dead deer carcasses interlocked by their antlers, and a month later it was gone. He used the death as a category. Yeah, you know, that's not too uncommon for deer to like die in the middle of a fight. I mean, it's not gonna happen every single time.
Probably got
where to go? But where to go? Did hunters come and take it? And...
Bears.
Honestly, I'd take the antlers if I saw them. It's gonna
like you're not needing these anymore.
Yeah, you guys had your fun. It's my turn.
Right.
Put them on my head.
I could see like us going over to Lauren's house too. She's like, opens the door. Notice anything different, guys? Like, you're looking badass is what I noticed. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Actually, speaking of animal parts, this is totally off topic, but there is you heard of Santeria, right? Like
magic.
The black magic that slaves came over with to the US. Well, there was another form of Santeria. I cannot remember the proper name for it, that came from Cuba specifically, that kind of migrated into Florida, that uses what's called an inganga. And it is basically a tribute totem bucket, metal or whatever you want to use, usually metal, something very heavy duty that you create a life for, and you put offerings in it. And a lot of the times it is animal sacrifices. So when you hear like, you know, the, what do you call it? The sacrificing of a chicken or something, and it's really dirty. That's because all of that needs to happen. And I was like, that sounds super interesting. I don't want to try it. I don't know, but just for some reason, the antlers, like, put an antler in there. I think that would be a good offering to your inganga. So if we guys ever want to do a black magic episode, we got to do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I'll eat some fried chicken and throw the bones in the bucket. Like, does that count? It's sacrificing the bones.
So you're trying to make an offering to Colonel Sanders to give you wealth and riches or whatever else you want. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work or not, Joe.
As long as they give me fucking honey packs, I'm good. And bitches always forget.
Frankie says, I don't practice Santeria. Well, I don't got no crystal ball, so I don't know what to tell you. Okay.
I had $1 million, but I spent it all.
Yeah. And it was, that stuff was shown in the tax collector. They had a full-on altar, like very, very well-researched black magic in the tax collector. If you guys haven't seen that, they do a whole human sacrifice scene right before a big action scene, and it's intense. Like, it's a good movie. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, I would definitely recommend watching The Tax Collector. For one, Shia LaBeouf does a good job, and I'm not a big Shia LaBeouf fan, but he's getting better with age. So check it out. Check it out.
It just reminds me of Even Stevens.
Yeah, Beans.
Could be. I think that would be. He'd be a good gangster.
Who, Beans?
Oh.
Doesn't he work at a Cinnabon or some shit now?
I don't know.
I would rather wake up on the wrong side of the bed because I always get the short end of the stick. Richard, I know how you feel. We are not sacrificing anything tonight, but maybe this summer. I don't know. Maybe I'll sacrifice a full goat.
Coming this summer.
As long as everyone has a little piece, definitely up for it. And Richard, I feel that. Not a Shia LaBeouf fan. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of his either. But the Tax Collector, definitely good. Definitely good. All right. Dan, we're way off topic. I'm sorry. That was like 100% my fault. But let's get the last little bit of awesomeness out of the way before we get into some gross stuff. Let's get some stuff we can actually laugh at.
Alrighty. April 19th, 2000 in Georgia, a mechanic at a Montezuma tire shop was trying to repair a crack in a tractor trailer tire. The tire was not deflated, and he was using a welding torch to attempt to fix the hole in it. It exploded and killed him instantly, hitting him in the head. The owner said that, and this is a quote, he was trained. The manager and the customer told him not to, but he did it anyway.
You had me at Montezuma crack and exploded.
I don't have to listen to you. I don't need safety regulations. I'm just gonna get this did.
Apparently, he wasn't trained well enough. So
he was like, "Nah, hold my beer. I got this."
I was in Georgia. He could have said that.
he literally, that was literally the line beforehand. Oh my gosh. There's a difference between confident and a little ignorant and just about to get yourself killed. And I think he was right in the middle in there. I bet you he had some knowledge of what he was doing. So he said confident enough. But then he fell into the, I'm about to get myself blowed up. And then he did.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I wonder how often that kind of stuff happens, though. Richard, I read part of a book, I Am Trained. Yes, that's exactly how it works. Open cover, back cover, you're good. You're good to go 100% of the time.
Does watching a YouTube video count?
It works 100% of the time. All right.
Like 7 minutes of a YouTube video. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, I skipped the important parts, but I got the end result. I can see what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Good to go. YouTube University. Every time. We should I want to make a sweatshirt that says that now. I'm gonna wear that around. Anyway, so today, guys, we are talking about Rock Terrio and the Anthill Kids. If you tuned in with us last week, we went into a little bit of the backstory. I'll just go quickly. Born into a Catholic family, but it was a very specific set. And it's actually called the White. Gosh dang it! It's called White Hat. There's a certain hat now. The name's gonna escape. Cannot believe I'm already messing up. White Berets. Thank you. White Berets. Where his father basically made them go begging, and that kind of skewed him away from traditional religions. And him already being from the very young age, kind of a narcissist and a sociopath. You can't make someone like that beg against their will. No, it's not gonna work out. You're gonna create a deep resentment in this person, and it did. He went about his life dropping out of, I believe, early in high school. They decided to just take on random jobs, whatever he felt he could be good at. And since he was a bit charismatic for being a giant French Canadian, because he was a very large man with what was referred to as an enormously large penis. That's actually comes up many times throughout the story. That's part of
scary. I look up and Lauren's got the same fucking face. We're like, what the fuck?
It's the truth, all right? A lot of what he says is lies, but that one's not. It was basically...
Did you verify this, Miguel?
It was a prize fish. Like, you could hold it in a picture and smile, and like that was his, all right?
Do you have a souvenir one? Did he sign it?
It's probably somewhere out there. Just like Rasputin's, in a jar somewhere. Because he is dead, by the way. Rock Terrio is dead right now, so thank goodness, because he was a terrible person. Right. But from there, he skipped around a bit. Wasn't very successful, just basically a liar and kind of sponged off people until he got in touch with the Seventh-day Adventists, who, being a somewhat charismatic guy, and they were just starting off in his area, was able to kind of weasel his way in to run what they had at the time was a stop smoking clinic. The stop smoking clinic was your holistic medicine kind of thing. You know, you don't need medicine really. You need vitamins, and you need to pray more, and you need to read our literature, and you need to drink broth. It is a liquid diet kind of situation with B12 and other kinds of vitamins that I didn't get a full list of them, but I mean, if it works for you, why not? I just don't see it actually working for anybody. So don't quit smoking that way, guys, if you're trying to quit. He turned that little bit of authority, though, into a hold over a bunch of essentially kids. They were, I mean, getting into adulthood. They were like 19, 20 in that range, maybe a little bit older, going into college, and then coming back after their first year and hanging out with this guru who was like, well, you know, I have got the ways of the Seventh-day Adventist. I am the emissary of God, which he wasn't going into right away, but that's basically what he built to. And they all followed right along. And since he was no longer sending the money that he made from the stop smoking clinic and, you know, the medicine that he sold and the literature he sold from the Seventh-day Adventists, he just took their shit and kept going with it and kept the money. They basically fired him. The other heads of the congregations in his area kind of voted him out, but that only brought his followers closer into him. It was a very small group, even at its largest, as far as adults go, it was about 20 people. And when the really horrific stuff happened, probably about 10 to 12. But the amount of kids that were involved, as it was called the Anthill Kids, there was 24 children that he had himself, not including other children that were either born into the cult or brought into by their parents, you know, little by little. And it's not like they were living in California where if somebody told you, oh, I want to take you out to the woods here, and you go into like, I don't know, not Bakersfield area, but somewhere else in California, you're usually going to get good weather. There's greenery. There's fresh water everywhere. There's probably a field somewhere you can pick out food from, all right? There's plenty of resources here. This was Canada, where it's going to be freezing cold for most of the year, if not the entire year in some spots. It's not a good place to be on your own. I don't think self-sufficiency was the key. I think it was just being miserable and punished the entire time. Because as soon as they got out into the wilderness and he didn't have to, you know, stick to his holistic ways, he started drinking again. Started drinking very heavily, and he started beating his followers. Started with his wife, his first wife, second wife, first wife that was in the cult itself. He had a wife before that, left her when he started all this. And just hitting everybody. Sometimes they do, all right? You gotta live your own life. You gotta cult your own cult, all right? And I know we talk about the really bad ones, but I was listening to this podcast about benign versus malevolent cults. And there's a lot of cults out there. Here in California, I think they say we have an average of like 200 active cults in our state alone. But it's more to like the lines of they are not big enough to be a sect of a different church, and they're not recognized enough by quote unquote, you know, mainstream religions. So they're categorized as a cult. It could be as simple as an offshoot of Scientology where they just believe a little bit differently, and that's still a cult, which, you know, it's weird, but they're not hurting anybody. Very few of the cults actually go around hurting people. They're just weird people who like weird stuff together. And I mean, who cares? You know, that's cool.
That is so weird. So it's like if you don't have enough members, you can't be a legit religion or belief system. You're just a little like room full of fucking crazy people, basically.
Well, look how anything happens. I mean, let's see. Well, let's start with friggin' the Catholic Church. Let's start with, you know, just Christianity in general. There's one guy saying he's the son of God, and he's very charismatic, and he gets his followers. He gets 12 of them, so they're very zealots. They're zealots at that point.
Hangs out with prostitutes.
Oh yeah. But then, you know, they start preaching, and it grows larger. And I think it's not so much that you need a certain number. It's that a certain number of people have to just believe. They don't even have to be a part of your religion. They just have to accept that you are over there. Like, okay, that's the Jewish faith. They do their thing. I may not be a part of it, but I recognize them as a church. You know, like I wouldn't call the Jewish faith a cult, but I would definitely do that to Scientology. You know, but that's up here. It's not. They are. There's a lot of them, but they're still crazy. It just there's a lot of red tape to being a religion, and thank God, because there'd be way too many out there. There's way too many out there. I don't want to go into that, but this is where
there's a lot of them out there that harm people that are still not recognized as harming people, like certain Catholic, priests and all that.
Yeah,
and people like the Kenneth Copelands of the world.
1,000%. Yeah, there's plenty of things that are going on the level that people just don't want to accept, and it's crazy to me. But this is those times where somebody who shouldn't have any authority got authority, because Rock Terrio was a terrible human being, especially when he drank. The abuse led to one of the 2 deaths of children in the cult, which led him to serving only 2 years in prison. Nothing, absolutely nothing. His cult basically moved next to the church, or next to the prison in which the city in which it was held. So they were right next to him the entire time, putting money on his books, allowed conjugal visits throughout the entire time. And I believe I think he had 3 kids in this time period. Like he fathered 3 kids while still in prison. It was not a punishment. He got away with the death of 2 kids, no problem. But once they got out, their original compound, when they moved out into the wilderness, was destroyed. So they had to rebuild, and they rebuilt a lot better this time because they knew what they were doing. They built a sawmill so they could make actual like planks and stuff. They did a good job. Yeah, a legalized cult somewhat. Yeah, Gary, absolutely. There are legalized cults out there. It's crazy, and I believe Richard is right. How close is Girls Gore and Gin to being a cult? I think we need a bunker or a fortress of some sort. Yeah, we need a bunker.
Yep.
Compound? I don't know the proper word. I know we need something. All right.
Is fine with me.
Well, as long as everyone's on board, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to start setting down some rules and not letting anybody sleep.
We can go rob a UAP. Hijack an alien.
I think they deserve it because they're not sharing.
Rude.
So after they get out, the punishments just get worse. He's got full control over them, because from the day he got into prison to 2 years later when he got out, they are now 6 years in to being a part of his cult, and virtually nobody left in that time period. They hung out and waited for him to get out basically for 2 years. And when he said, we're going back to the wilderness, basically, they were on board. Like, you don't really get much more dedicated than that. Just following someone from, I have running water and electricity, to, yeah, sure, I can go back to living outside. Why not? And you've been in prison for the last 2 years for, killing one of your own kids and somebody else's, but you know what? Let's follow you anyway. So they're sold. They are locked in.
Like, nobody took it over either. Like, the whole 2 years he was gone, like, nobody tried to say, all right, this shit's mine now.
Yeah, you would think, huh? Because people are naturally like that anyway, especially if they were following him, they would have maybe thought, oh, well, I'm just going to take his place, follow in his footsteps, and then, eventually take over.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, the only kind of change in anything that really happened is because he married all the women in the church, like, with his power. He was the husband to everybody at that point. But his first wife, the wife that he went into, what's up?
He was hoarding all the wives.
That sounds terrible. I would never want to do that. That sounds way too complex, way too stressful.
One female's enough.
But from what it says, that his main wife wanted to kind of step down as being number one, and Gabrielle Levay stepped in as the new number one, his favorite wife. But a certain incident had to happen to find out that she was the favorite wife. And this happened when he was drunk. He decided he likes, how do I do this? He liked to get drunk and perform surgeries on them. For instance, one of the members was a clinically depressed gentleman who joined to kind of boost himself back up. He heard his followings were good, or his teachings were good, and he worked for them. He slept outside for a while. Then he was left to sleep inside of the work shed with all the equipment. That was his whole life, and it was actually on his watch that one of the kids died. So as a punishment for him not pulling him out of the snow, they castrated him. He did it, and Rock Terrio did it himself. It was amateur surgery at its finest because it technically worked, but you probably shouldn't do that? Question mark? I mean, I think it's bad.
So Lorena Bobbitt did that guy.
He definitely did, but with his consent, basically. And then here, where is?
Okay.
There we go.
Nice.
Okay.
I swear to God, nobody tries to take over. Everybody lets them fuck their wives, letting them chop their ding dongs off. What the fuck did this guy really have? Like, or is it the people? Do you think? Do you think it's the people that are just that bubble-headed and need something, or it's just somebody who is that convincing and selling?
It's got to be both. I think it's got to be a mix of the two.
Yeah.
Because they were
nothing to look at, though. That's for sure. You have this.
Taka. Well, I mean, he had nothing to look at, but he had something to offer, apparently.
Well, let me see if I can find the picture of him.
No, we don't want to see it. We don't want to see it.
Not that.
Jesus,
No.
Miguel, I got all excited. I'll show it to you.
No, just of him. Because apparently to Canadian ladies, he's a very handsome guy. Like, that's not even a joke. Like, he was considered a handsome and charismatic person.
I've seen his picture. Not that handsome.
I agree. I don't think he's a handsome guy. I think he's very creepy looking.
He looks like a Ferrero Rocher.
But nonetheless, so his new favorite wife, Gabrielle Leve, something like that. Gabrielle L. Okay, it's a very French name.
Gabrielle.
She was complaining about stomach pains, and he got drunk one night and was like, "You know what? I know how to do this. We have to remove a part of your intestines. Yeah, take that on out. I'm gonna pop that out. I'm gonna get rid of it." And he did. They had a housing little building, they had their work building, and they had a little bakery building. And that bakery building is where he decided to operate on her with the help of a couple other members who kind of held her down while he used a knife to cut into her and pull out part of her intestine, remove it, and then close her up. She lived through the surgery, but she died the next day. From septic shock. Like, her insides were leaking because he did not do a proper. So she died.
That's a horrible way.
Yeah, no, it only gets worse for her. It's not over. Like, he's gonna add insult to this injury because they dig her up later on, and he's got to perform a lobotomy. He says on the body, so they dig her up. He pokes a hole in her head, and then how do I put this? He proceeds to have intimate time with her head.
Skull fucking.
Yes. He totally Ed Kempered her.
Yes, he did.
I don't like story time with Miguel. Your stories suck.
It's not going to get better because there's more that's coming your way.
Oh, gee.
Yes.
No.
They bury the body, and he decides, no, we need it up again. We need it one more time because I got to check her ribs and I got to check the rest of her body. And they begin dissecting her in different ways. He does skull fucking again. And one of the other ladies is like, I think she said she wanted to be cremated just so he would stop doing all this to her. Jesus. Get the body done with all the way. But he decides to keep one of the ribs and he wears it as a necklace. So he takes one of her ribs. They cremate the rest of the body, and he wears that around basically from then on.
He could be a man.
Yeah.
That German. Wait, was it German or Swedish or Norwegian or whatever?
Norwegian. Fucking,
yeah.
Yeah.
Black metal.
Yeah.
Where's your ribs?
So at this point, all the kids have been taken away from them after the death of the first two, and one of his wives is pregnant and going to give birth again. Well, in the last episode, we talked about them going over to a cult in Utah, over in Big Lake, which is a actual city ran by another polygamist. He had 10 wives, just like one more than Rock had at the time, and he ran that town. Like, he was the mayor. He had the most family there because he just kept having kids. He was
just marry everybody and then have a bunch of kids.
I mean, that's one way to do it. Then you own whatever you want. You know, you monopolized that area. You did a good job.
Yeah.
But he goes over there, and you know they've been talking for a while, anyways. But these people don't know the extent of how crazy Rock is until they go over again, and he tells them what he's wearing and tells them, you know, what happened to her and how sad he is about it. And they're like, "Oh, okay, then maybe you guys could not be here anymore. That would be great." But before they do that, his wife gives birth to the child, and they leave the child there, so the authorities can't take it away in Canada. Before they leave, he gets drunk again, and he wants to show off to the other cult leader, basically, and shows off some of the wounds to his other wives. One of them, which he scalped, and he has beaten them. But the other guy does not have that. He is not allowing that at all. So this dude grabs him by the junk, has two people pull guns on him, and forces them to leave then. Like, no, you're not here anymore. This is not how we do our life. And they throw him out of Utah, basically, leaving the child behind because they didn't really care about the kid anyway. So that kid is no longer having to worry about living with Rock Terrio. Even though it was just born, it's the most lucky any of those kids ever got, was being born there instead of in Canada. Not against Canada, which, you know, a little bit against Canada, but still.
So when they escorted him out, was it that two people pulled a gun on him and he grabbed his junk, or two guys grabbed his junk and he pulled a gun on him?
What was his name? Oh my goodness.
I thought there was a handful going on here. So
who's grabbing the junk? Who's got the guns?
It was three guys. It was
apparently
three guys
this guy's
who threw him
swinging.
out,
So
like the other dude was also a really big ex-Marine guy. Like, he was not putting up with his bullshit. So he grabbed him by the junk and threw him into a chair, and had two of his goons basically, you know, escort him out. Like, his security came like, "No, you're done here. Get the F out of my house. Get out of my town before sundown," kind of situation. He did what needed to be done, basically. It should have been worse. And here we go. Maybe it was the supposed big schlong that made him start the cult with big penis. Comes big responsibilities. I bet you that was, honestly. I'm sure that's enough confidence right there to make a cult.
sounds legit.
Hanging.
At most, I could run a small LLC. Okay, that's as much as I can do. Anyway, from there, he keeps torturing different members of his cult back in Canada, and they will run away into the forest, or they will go to local towns. Like, there's a women's shelter that knows all about this now because they keep going there. But to make it safe for the women, to make them feel like they can go there, they don't make them call the police when they go. Like, it's just shelter, and they encourage you, to call the police to get help, but they're not forcing anybody to do so. Mm-hmm. So they go to that shelter, and then they'll go back to him quite often. We see that time and time again, until one of them finally gives up, and the authorities come back, caseworkers come back, everybody starts kind of honing in on them. So they're on the run for quite a while until they are finally picked up, and he is convicted again, where he gets 12 years this time. So he gets a much longer sentence for Gabrielle Levev's death.
Wow.
And I didn't even go into the amputee of one of the other women. He cuts off someone's arm, and just kind of shows off his handiwork, like, wherever they go.
Handiwork.
That was not intentional. That was completely off kilter. That was good though.
That was good.
Him, like, swinging the arm like that. Hey guys.
She's walking away, and he goes, "Bye bye, bye bye."
Oh man.
Got your arm.
But yeah, he goes to jail. It's gonna be 12 years, and at this time, there's still members that follow him to this place too. And they open up a bakery like right next to it.
Oh.
And it does okay for a while until people find out like who they are, and then they have to close down and run away. But where am I looking? Oh, on February 26, 2011, they found him dead in his cell. His cellmate, Matthew Gerard McDonald, stabbed him to death. Didn't like the guy. Like, nah, we're done with this. He killed him, went up to the guard that was on duty, handed him the knife, like, he's gone. Don't worry about it. And that was the end of Rocktario right there.
Dope.
So obviously not much of a holy man, just get stabbed to death in prison, I don't think. There was no protection from God at least. So sucks to be him. But that's how the cult basically ended, with some of them still defending him after his death. Like, no, he only did those bad things to us because he had to fight off the demons inside himself and in us, and he was doing it for us. It's the idea of punishment gets you closer to God, and they were all in. I mean,
what had happened to those people in their past before they even went to go live with him, that they really needed to just do everything that he said? Like, holy shit. And they really believed all that. Like, really kind of says a lot about how they probably grew up.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. There was, because some of them they went into the backstories of, and there was some abuse, and there was some really bad relationships. One of them was a nurse who accidentally killed somebody, and she could no longer work as a nurse, so she was just emotionally destroyed herself before that. And this gave her an opportunity to be a part of a community where she could practice her skills that she built up. But it was turned into nefarious, and she was tortured just as much as the rest of them. I mean, no good came out of it. It's not like there was any kind of happy story in this, because everyone got it equal, and all he did was get stabbed one time, and then he died like a jerk. So he deserved a lot worse than that, I'd say.
Yeah.
Fucking bitch.
But altogether, 2 children, about 3 adults died because of this cult. Numerous people scarred for life. A bunch of kids that I don't know where to look to even find out what they would be or where they would be nowadays, because a lot of them went into the foster care system of Canada, and I think they try to protect their identities, which is really good. They don't want anyone messing with them just to get information on the story. But a lot of the information that's still out there about this is actually all in French because of where it happened. There's not a whole lot of English translation. So if you're out there and you haven't really heard much about Anthill Kids, it's just because it's not really it's not an English story. It's just, it gets told a lot in that area, so they know it very well. Right about this time was also Jim Jones. Like right before he started going full into the insanity, the Jim Jones massacre, the Jonestown's massacre, barely happened. So Canada was already aware of cult activity. They just didn't hop on this fast enough. So it's a real downer of an ending, but at least he's dead, I guess. That's about all I got. Oh. So, yeah, that's all I got for this one, guys.
Damn. Crazy people. Thank you, Megs.
Yeah,
all that research.
Well, luckily next week it's going to get super fun and lighthearted, right? Going to be super easy a topic. Oh, wait, no. It really gets way worse.
Oh, no.
Way fucking worse.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, next week, if you want to tune in, we're going to talk about residential schools and all the shit that's been coming out about them recently and just over the years that I guess maybe nobody's just paid attention to. So, yeah. A lot of fucked up shit happening in this world.
It's true. I hope the aliens are real, because then we can just like, hey, get a ride and go somewhere else. I'll bring my own air. It's fine. Whatevs. Yeah, there's some deep topics here, and there are some more messed up ones I definitely want to talk about too. So it's not like it's over anytime soon. Next week, I want to do some research too, because when you brought up the term, I didn't realize that's what they were called. I just always heard of these horrible incidents. I didn't know it was so commonplace that they have their own name for it. It really that messed me up.
And when you hear it, you don't think that it sounds like anything bad, like residential school, like, oh, a school near a bunch of houses. That's what, I don't know. That's what I thought of the first time I heard that term. And then I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's not what I thought it was.
But that's 100% the same thing that was going through my head. And Gary asked, aliens live among us. What do you guys say? Yes or no?
I say yeah.
Yeah.
Have been probably for thousands of years.
I know like 3 of them, and they still somehow collect welfare, and they send money back to Mexico all the time. Oh wait, that's a different kind of alien. Nonetheless,
racist.
It's not racist if it's my own family. Okay, it's allowed.
It's racist. You cannot like your own race.
That's true.
I don't like anybody's race. I don't like anybody equally. Okay, I hate everybody.
Racist
across the board. You can't be racist if everybody deserves the anger. All right, everybody's bad from top to bottom, rich, poor, atheist to really religious, vegan to carnivore diet. You're all bad people. Enjoy it. Just go be
Vegans
bad.
are bad people.
Yeah, but there was that dude who was like trying to stick it to the vegans at this thing, and he was eating raw meat, like walking around their food vending spot, and I was like, I like meat as much as the next guy. That's a dick move. Come on. Like, there's
that guy's just an asshole. Don't let him represent.
I think that's gonna wrap it up for us tonight, guys. We got a lot of cool stuff planned ahead, so please stay tuned. I would definitely stay tuned for next week's episode, because it's gonna get heavy again. And probably exponentially bigger than this one, like a lot bigger. So stick with us.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And yeah, at Girls Gore and Gym, like always. We've never changed it. No, we've never changed it.
All right, guys, y'all take care.
You too. Bye.
Goodbye.